Okay, so in section 7.3, I'm going to introduce you something called the basic percent equation. Basic percent equation. You guys ever go clothes shopping?
Yeah.
Well, you're all wearing clothes, so I assume you go clothes shopping at some point, unless your mommy or daddy buys your clothes for you still, which that would kind of suck. That's what happens to me. No, I'm just kidding. I picked this up myself. I know, it's embarrassing, but I really do. Anyway, if you ever go clothes shopping, you probably see sales all the time, right? You go over to Kohl's or JCPenney's, they're always having sales. In fact, if you ever pay full price for something, well, that's not very smart in this day and age because they're going to have a sale eventually on that item. You with me? So you're going to often see sales when you're clothes shopping. So let's say we go clothes shopping. And you go along and you find this really nice pair of jeans, all right? The pair of jeans is $84. Better be a nice pair of jeans for $84, right? $17.99 right here, folks. That's right. Love those jeans. Anyway, so you get this nice pair of jeans, though, for $84, except you go and you find this little sale that says, hey, this pair of jeans is 25% off. We're going to find out how much that's going to cost you. Now, of course, 25% off, that's just a quarter off, so we might be able to do this in our head or a different way, but I'm going to introduce to you the basic percent equation. That's going to allow us to solve this with proportions. Are you ready for it? So what we want to find out is this. We want to find out what is 25% of $84. That's the question. Here's one way that we can answer that. Here's a very nice universal way of answering percent equations. It's called the basic percent equation. So our basic equation here. You might have even seen this before. Here's what the basic percent equation does. It sets up a proportion for you, which is just the equality of two fractions. So we're still looking at these fractions. Remember those proportions? Where you cross multiply to solve those things? I hope you remember those. Now there's some key words that are going to occur in most of your percent problems. And if they're not there, you can make them there. You can rewrite the problem. We'll talk about that later, much later. But in every single percent problem that you deal with, you're generally given a word is, a word of, some percent, and then this number 100 we're going to keep there all the time because a percent and is parts over 100. So this is a given for us. So that 100 is there no matter what. We have is over of equals percent over 100. How many people have seen that before? Have you seen that before? No? If not, this is going to be kind of nice for you. You're going to see how this works very nicely to find out any percentage of any number. Can you read through that? What is 25% of 84? And identify these key words. Do you see the word is? How about the word of?
Yeah.
How about a percent somewhere? And the 100, we never changed that. So if we go ahead and we solve this problem, so we're down to what is 25% of 84, that's our example. The 100 is going to be there no matter what, and we've got to fill out the rest of these spots. Let's start with the ones that are actually there. What about the percent? What percent are we given?
25.
So right here under the percent, we're going to put 25. So if it's 25%, we write the number 25. Are you okay on that?
Yes.
Notice how we don't have to change it to 0.25. We don't have to do that because the dividing by 100, that does that for us. You with me on that? That does that for us. So the 25 over 100, that is 0.25. You're just going to leave it as 25 over 100. Not sure if you're okay with that. See where that 25 is coming from? Yes? Okay. Now, how about the word of? It says, what is 25% of 8? What would you put under the of?
84.
Yeah, of 84. So that 84 is going to go right here. Now, wait a second. What's the is?
Variable.
It says what is? I don't know. What is? Well, we'll put a variable there. Put x. So the way this works, we go, okay, what is we don't know. 25%, 25 for our percent. Of 84 right there, and then 100, that doesn't change at all. Hey, ignore all this stuff. Does this look familiar? Well, I sure hope so. How do you solve that?
Cross multiply.
Why don't you do that right now, everybody? Cross multiply. You should be able to cross multiply at this point. We've been doing that for a while. Remember that you got a calculator now, right? So these big numbers shouldn't really intimidate you. We have 100x equals 84 times 25. How much is 84 times 25 on your calculator?
2100.
Are you done? You can leave it 100x equals 2100? What are you going to do? Good. You know, I'm going to move up here a little bit. X equals what? 21 what?
Dollars.
We're talking about money here, so that's $21. All right. Now let me ask you a question. Here's the critical thinking part of this question, all right? So if you walk up to the register, are you going to expect to pay $21?
No.
What is the $21 representing?
Your percentage savings.
That's your savings. So you're actually saving $21. Does that make sense to you? If it's, what's 25%? If it's a 25% off sale, hope you're watching this. Hope you're paying attention. This is going to come back at you in the next couple sections here. If you're talking about a 25% off sale, that says find 25% of what number your original price is. Find that out and then subtract it from your original price. So if we're saving 25%, that says we're saving $21. Can you figure out how much I'm going to pay for this pair of jeans?
Yeah.
How much?
63.
How are you finding out 63?
Sure.
Sure. So if I take my $84, which is my original, minus the $21, that's my savings. So this is full price. This is the savings. You get $63. Or you pay $63. Would you raise your hand and feel okay about that one? Yes, no? Guys in the back, yeah? So we're going to pay 63 bucks for this. So you go to the cash register, and now that you know how to do percentages, if they ring you up, they go, okay, you owe me, let's see, $78. 77, what would that be? 840. They say you owe me $75.60. Did they do the math right?
No.
They gave you about 10% off, not 25% off. So they rang it up incorrectly. That way, at least you'd be able to, at least you know, right? That way you don't get home and go, yeah, I guess that's right. You just trust the people that register, because honestly, a lot of them don't know what they're doing. They just punch numbers into a computer and hope that it's right. They don't go through any training usually to find out percentages. They just trust the computer, or if they do, they forget it all the time. I have people overcharge me all the time, or undercharge me. You ever get undercharged?
Yeah.
All the time. You wonder how these businesses stay in business with the amount of money they give back. That's wrong. They get undercharged, overcharged. I guess they figure it's going to wash out eventually. But if you're going to be a good business person, you probably don't want to be overcharging some people and undercharging some people, right? Because the people who get overcharged are going to complain, and you're going to have to give them money back. People who get undercharged aren't ever going to tell you, right? So you're going to lose money all the time. That's not a good way to do business. You probably want to know these percentage sales, these percentage that you're paying in taxes, the percent that you're going to get in commission, to be able to run your life accordingly.
People don't really do the math, though. They just scan the item.
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
Oh.
So what if they do the math wrong? What if it's in the computer wrong?
Yeah.
If it's a lot of times in the computer wrong, because people punch it in, they go, oh, instead of 25%, maybe they press a 1 instead of a 2, and they give you 15%. The average person in the world is not going to know the difference. The average person is not going to know the difference between 25% and 15%. They're going to go, I guess I saved $7 when you should be saving $21. You know, it's a big difference. Do you see the importance of what we're learning? I hope so. Now, there's another way to do this. Another way we can consider these questions. It's kind of fun. We can also say how much one number is as a percentage of another. So, for instance, we can ask this question. 32 is what percent of 20? I'll give you a little hint. This question is going to come back at you. This is going to be a question called percent increase. Here's the deal. Let's say that that your daily income went from $20 a day to, or an hour, however you get paid. Let's say you get $20 an hour. That's great. That's great pay. So you get $20 an hour, and they say you're going to get a raise. We're now going to give you $32 an hour. Is that a good raise?
Oh, yeah.
That's a great raise. We're going to find out later what percent increase that is. So we'll be able to solve that problem and figure out what, as a percentage, you increased. Right now we're going to figure out this number compared to this number is how much percent. Now, can you identify some of the key words that we had over here? Do you see an is, an of, a percent, a 100? Well, you don't see the 100, but that's going to be there no matter what. Let's see if we can figure out what this equation is. Let's start with the is. It says 32 is what percent of 20? What's our is in this case? Do you know?
32.
It says 32 is, right? 32 is. So our 32, where does that go? Top, bottom, or top?
Top.
This top? 32. 32 is, that's right. What percent of 20? Tell me the next thing I can fill out.
Percent, big X.
Y and X.
Well, it's not there.
Good, yeah, it says what percent? I don't know. I don't know what percent. Why do I put the 20 on the bottom? That's the of. Sure. We had our is, that's 32. We've got our of. Our of says 20. X, we don't know the percent, so that's going to be X over 100. You okay with that one so far? Let's see if we can solve it. If we solve it, we're still going to cross multiply. We'll have 20x equals 32 times 100. Nice having that 100 up there, isn't it? The 100 is nice to work with. You get 20x equals 3200. If we divide by 20, am I going too fast for you? Are you guys okay with that? We've done this a lot, so I'm kind of speeding it up a little bit, but we've simply cross-multiplied, multiplied those numbers, and then divided. So we've been doing these proportions a while now. X equals, well, I'm hoping you got 160. Now, can you tell me, 160 what?
Percent.
Ah, that's a percent. We were talking about percents here. Notice how the X is in the percent spot. Are you with me on that? So if you leave it as 160, are you right? No. You need a what after that again?
Percent sign.
So the units we're talking about are pretty important. Here we had to be talking about dollars, so you put the dollar sign. Here we're talking about a percentage, so you're going to put the percent sign. So what this says is that if you look at it, is 32 bigger than 120? Is 32 bigger than 120?
No.
32 is not bigger than 120? I'm sorry, 20. Ha, I said 120. You're probably confused as heck right now. Is 32 bigger than 20?
Yes.
Sure. So it's more than 100% of 20. So it's bigger than that. It's more than 100%. In fact, it's 160% of 20. This is comparatively, size-wise, this number is 160% of 20. That's a 60% growth. That's nice. It means your paycheck went up 60%. Wouldn't you want your paycheck to go up 60%? I would. Usually you get like a 5% raise, you know, if that. This day and age, you're lucky if you get any raise. But COLA, cost of living adjustments, usually right around 3 to 4%, depending on the year. And they'll give that to like state workers. Cost of living goes up, you get a little increase in pay to compensate for that. This 60% increase would just be ridiculous. That's a huge raise. That's 3/5 more than what you're making right there. That's a lot. You know another way we can word this? What if I worded it like this? Find 2.5% of $800. You know, this is how commission works generally. Have you ever heard of commission before? Explain to me what commission is then.
Make percentage off of what you sold.
Sure. You know who works very well on commission?
Auto dealers.
Auto dealers do. Sure, they do. Who else?
Real estate.
Real estate. Real estate, generally, you don't get any pay at all unless you sell a house. Did you know that? So those real estate agents who go out selling houses, they work all on their own time. They spend all their own money and resources. They work through a brokerage firm, so they get listings and things like that. But they are strictly commission based. So that means if you don't sell anything, you don't eat. All right? That's why they want to sell houses. They really do. So commission usually is if you sell your own listing, you get 6%. If you have to split a listing, you get 3% because the other agent would get the other 3%. So they want to sell their own listings. That's why if you ever go to a realtor, they're like, oh, I have these houses for sale. Let's go look at those first. Because if you like them, they make 6% rather than 3%. That's twice the money. You get the idea? Let's say that this real estate agent is selling bare land. Sometimes they get 5% and they split that. So they'll get 2.5% as their commission. That means if they sold this piece of land, this is a simplified example, for $800. I'm keeping the numbers small. Usually land is more than $800. Otherwise, everybody would have land, okay? And I don't even have, do you have land? Maybe some of you do. I don't either. So I don't even, if it was $800, I have lots of land. It'd be awesome. But it's not. So let's say that this person just sold this piece of land for $800. They're going to get 2.5% of that. Instead of what is 2.5% of 800, another way you'll see it worded is find. Notice that find is the same thing as what is. Are you with me on that? So do we still have an is?
Yes.
We do. It's what is. It's just worded as find. So we'll fill out everything else. Tell me, what number goes right here, please?
100.
100 goes here. What number goes right here?
800.
Good. Yeah, that's our of. Of is 800. Can you tell me what goes here?
2.5.
Yes.
This one.
But
Remember, we are is over of equals percent over 100. That's our formula. So 100 has to stay the same. Can you recognize that 800 is our of?
yes.
Yes.
Yay, no.
Yes.
Can you recognize that our is, what is our is?
Fine.
Yeah, we don't know. Find. What is it? What goes here?
2.5.
That's our percent. Nice thing about this formula, you don't have to translate from percents to decimals. It does it for you inherently in the problem. That's great. Can you solve this the rest of the way?
Yeah.
Go ahead and do that. You don't have to tell me what you got. Just write on your paper. The 2,000?
Yeah.
How much did they get?
20.
20 what?
Dollars.
$20. Is this a percent? Should you write a percent after that?
No.
Are you looking for a percent or dollars up here?
Dollars.
Looking for dollars, so write dollars. You know, a lot of places also work on commission. This probably wouldn't be a very good example for real estate because no real estate's $800. But if you go into Sears, you guys ever go into Sears right down the street? All their appliance guys work on commission. So you could potentially sell $800 worth of like washer dryer, or maybe a refrigerator if it's a cheap refrigerator, $800. I got mine for $300. But if they're getting 2.5% of whatever they sell, they're getting hourly, sure, but then if they get 2.5%, that guy's going to make $20 from selling you that refrigerator. Does that make sense? Just like a little bonus for doing his job right. Would that encourage you to sell more
Oh, yeah.
if you got money from what you sold?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Are you ready to try some on your own? You sure? You guys look so excited. Aren't you excited?
Yeah.
Of course you are. Okay. At least lie to me. Be like, yeah, this stuff's awesome. Love percentages. Booyah. Can I get a booyah? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, 4 examples. I want you to work on all 4 of these things. Do them on your own. Talk to your neighbors if you want to. After you get your problems done, see if you got the same answer as them. Work it out. Hey, be careful on this one. This one's worded a little funny. I need you to really read through that one, get that one right, okay? Read through that one careful before you do it. Don't just start plugging numbers in. You actually have to read these things. So read through carefully. You need to try to identify these 3 things: the is, the of, and the percent. After that, then fill out your basic percent equation, cross multiply and divide. Solve that equation. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is make sure your setup is correct on every one of these problems. So, on every problem, the best way I have for you is a proportion. It's just up to you to make sure you put the right numbers in the right places. You only have 4 things, right? And one of them is always going to be 100. Well, that's kind of nice. That means you only have 3 things. You got to put those 3 things appropriately every time. Now we're going to go through just boom, 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 and list out all of these problems for you. So find 9.4% of 240. Put the obvious things down first, such as the 9.4%. You know that's a percent, right? So 9.4 has to go right there. Did you get that one correct?
Yeah.
Okay, now, is the 240 an is or an of? It's an of, so does it go on the top or the bottom?
Bottom.
Good. What goes on the top?
X.
Find means what is. What is x? 9.4% of 240, that's always 100. Did you get that one set up correctly? Just worry about the setup right now. Left-hand side, did you get that set up correctly? Good, all right. The other one, what percent of 30 is 12? You got to really read through these. Notice your words. What is the is here?
12.
12 is the is. It says is 12. So 12. Do you see an of?
30.
30 is the of. Sure, it says of 30. What's our percentage?
X. Or,
So what are we going to put?
X.
I didn't hear a whole lot of participation. Are you guys okay with that one? Because I heard just one person talking. Yes, no?
Yes.
How many people got that set up like that? Good for you. Okay, you read through it. That's fantastic if you got that. So what percent? I don't know. What percent? In the percent spot, we're going to put x. Of 30, well, clearly our of would be 30 then. That's our of spot. Our is was 12. So we just have to read through these real carefully to make sure that's correct. Nudge if you're all right with that. All right, good. How about this one? 25 is what percent of 40? I know the 100 is right there. Are we given a percent?
No.
No, we're not. So in our percent spot, we have an x. Are we given an is? It's going to be 25. It says 25 is. So 25 is, that's got to go on that top left. And the what's our of?
40.
It's only one left. 25 is what percent? I don't know, of 40. How about here? Do we have an is?
Yes.
60s or is? Do we have an of?
No.
It says of what? It doesn't know. It doesn't know what the of is. Now, a percent, that's kind of one of the obvious ones. We got to have a 3 right here. X for of. I need to show of hands if you understand where all these numbers come from on all 4 examples. Good for you. Okay. Now, all of them are solved the same way. We're going to cross multiply and divide. It's a 2-step problem. So here we're going to get 100x equals, what's 240 times 9.4, please? What? 2256?
Yeah, I saw that.
Then if I divide by 100, 2256. Now I don't know the units. This could be dollars or inches or whatever it is. You would put the units after that problem. It's not a percentage. You don't put a percent there. Did you get 22.56? Good. Okay, next one. Of course, we're still going to cross multiply. We get 30x equals 3,000. If 30x equals 3,000, we'll divide by 30. X equals 100. Yes? No, I did that wrong.
No.
I got
Did cross multiply.
I did. Oh, you know what? I used that 3 twice. Could have been 100. It'd be 100%. They'd be equal numbers. That wouldn't make sense at all.
1,200.
1,200. Is that better?
Yeah.
All right. Ah.
40%.
40, now, 40 or 40%? Let's talk about that. Is it asking for a percent here?
Yeah.
Well, then if we don't put a percent, we got that wrong. So you need percents when it asks for them, and you can't have percents when it doesn't. So that's definitely 40%. Very good. Okay, next up, again, we'll cross multiply 40x equals 2,500. Divide that by 40, and what do you get?
62.5%.
62.5, and is that a percentage as well?
Yes.
Okay, last step, we'll get 3x equals 6,000. If we divide by 3, that 3 on the bottom, we should get 2,000.
Dollars.
Is that percent?
Yeah.
Dollars.
Oh, no, it's not.
I don't know what the units are. I didn't give you any units. If it would have been dollars, we'd have $2,000. Would you raise your hand and feel okay finding these percents or finding the numbers based on percents? Good deal. Now, I told you we were going to get to this a little bit later. We're going to talk right now about percent increase and percent decrease. It's kind of an important concept. You see, a lot of times, we use percent increase and decrease without even really thinking about it, especially if you're watching the news. They use this stuff all the time. You always see, haven't you ever seen percents on the news? They say the population has increased 20%, or the population has decreased 5%. Have you ever seen those before in the news? Have you watched? Do you watch the news? I don't watch the news. It's all bad news, you know. But if you do watch the news, you see a lot of percent increase and percent decrease.